Welcome to our video on specificity. Now, I know what you all are thinking. We know what specificity means. Well, in terms of statistics, it means something a little more specific than what you're probably thinking of. So when we have a diagnostic test, we want to figure out if the test is useful, if we should even use it in the first place. And one of the things that we can do to determine its usefulness is calculate the specificity and the sensitivity of the specificity is sometimes called the true negative rate, and its statistical definition is the proportion of people without a disease that test negatively for that disease. Let's break it down. When we look at this chart, we see that we have the disease on the top and the test on the side. So looking at it, the people in this category are the ones that do in fact have the disease or disorder. And the people in the negative row are people that do not have the disease or disorder. And looking at the test here, we see that the positive are people that test positive for that disease or disorder. And then below it, we have the negative. So it's people that don't test, or that test negative, for that disease or disorder. So by now, I feel like we're having a little bit better of a grasp on this topic of specificity. But to be sure, I'm gonna bring back the whiteboard, and we're gonna go over a real life, hypothetical example to try to really hone in and get into your brains what specificity really is. So we have this diagnostic test, and in terms of the disease, we have 340 people that don't have the disease or disorder. And then of those 340 people, 325 actually tested negative. All right, so when we break it down over here, we're gonna put the number that tested negative and that does not have the disease over the total number, so 340 of people that don't have the disease, to try to get that proportion of specificity. So when we do this, we get 0.955. Boom. And then you're gonna want to multiply that number by 100 to get the percentage, which then, of course, would be 95% for the specificity. So we have this little breakdown here. It's specificity, positive, you can rule it in, spin, right? So in that last test that we just broke down, someone had a 95% for specificity. So it does a really good job on determining someone without the disease that has a negative test, right? So when someone tests positive for it, you can almost be sure to rule in the disorder.